General. You can stay here tonight with us if you want.
No, you have done too much already.
Okay. Once, not long ago, a group of musicians came to Israel from Egypt. You probably didn't hear about it. It wasn't very important.
By just thanking you so deeply for being here. My name is Emily Hotz, for the folks out here I haven't met. If you were hoping for like a calm and collected moderator today, that is not me. I love your show with all of my heart. I think it is so special. It has such unique and beautiful storytelling that just weaves together these little moments. And it seems almost as if nothing grand is happening, but then at the end it just blossoms into like an explosion of longing and joy, and I'm so thankful for the art and thankful for the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
With that, I'm very curious. Sasson, you originated the role in the film, what, 12 years ago. What is it like to revisit the character of Tawfiq?
Well, for me, the band's visit is kind of a miracle. We started with a modest film in 2007, which we all felt very good about, like a legend or something, and all of a sudden it turned to be such a big artistic success and commercial success in Israel and Europe and the States in festivals. So it was a great joy and surprise for us to take this modest film, and it yielded so many fruits. To do it after 10 years almost, again in Broadway, for me this part is a turning point in my career. I can say it was very important for me, and I've been very lucky to do this part. And to do it again on Broadway for a year, and then now to join the tour, it's really a thrill. And I'm really amazed by the possibility how many audiences and how many people can enjoy this story, this human story, which have a lot of laughter and a lot of emotions and cry and such a beautiful music.
It sure is. Have you learned anything new about the character, or have you discovered different elements of him?
Well, the character grows with me. I did it 10 years ago. I was younger at the time, so I gained some experience in life, and I brought it to the character. And I keep, as a matter of fact, a good part can give you an opportunity and chance to explore. And I'm trying all my life to explore things in the theater, and I'm doing it every night with wonderful Chilina Each day, each performance, I find something new. The basics of a character are the same, of course, but I feel really lucky to have this opportunity to find and explore every time something new in it.
Excellent, thank you. Chilina, you play the role of Dina, who is, I think, one of the most fantastic characters to be added to the musical theater canon in the past few years. She's super grounded and connected within herself. You can sense her boldness even in her like physicality. How do you approach such a strong character? Was that intimidating, or is that like who you are?
Well, I think it could have been intimidating, but I think if you go into it in an organic way and find the place within yourself that is, you know, as close to that as possible, I think it becomes less intimidating. I think taking over, you know, having Katrina Lenk, she was so beautiful in the role on Broadway, and so she was a great, you know, person to be able to watch and to see how she did it. And it flowed so well and beautifully and organically through her body that I knew I didn't want to do you know, a carbon copy of anybody else's performance, or, you know, the performance from the film. I needed to make it my own. So it just took a little bit of time, and Sasson's been such a beautiful scene partner and been a very supportive, you know, person throughout all of this for me. So it's become easy because I have him to, you know, to be grounded with on the deck every night.
Excellent. So that actually brings me to my next question. This is not a show that there's like grand gestures or, you know, theatrical tricks to lean on. Mm-hmm. The magic has to happen with you two in a really like authentic way. Not to ask you how you create magic every night, but that's exactly what I want to know.
You know, when something is not successful, you can always analyze why it's not working. But when something is successful and so rich, it's hard to put the finger which is what makes it. But I mean, it's a special play, and it's what I think what we are proud of. I'm proud of, and all the production is proud of, that we managed to catch the audience attention and love and care, and to move him emotionally through very simple story and simple humanity behavior. And we are not using razzle dazzle and a lot of sparkling things as usually in Broadway, but we going to his heart and to his. I think if somebody can open his heart and mind and eyes and ears, he can relate to it.
And I think the thing that makes theater so exciting for me, I love going to see a piece where I almost feel like I shouldn't be there. Like it's a private moment that I'm kind of witnessing, mm-hmm. you know, and that I may be peeking through a window and seeing something that's magically happening between the people on stage. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our show, and about the writing and the subtlety and the complexity and the depth of the, you know, the music and the sounds and the layers of the sounds, but also the storytelling. Omar wrote a beautiful book, and the magic is happening between all of us. It's really, you know, obviously, like, you know, we play certain parts, but it's an ensemble show, and the band plays a role in it. You know, each of the songs have their own place in the show, and so the magic of it is it seems very simple, but it's very complicated. The way that they've woven these things together, I think, is what makes it so magical. I think it's what made it so magical for me when I saw it, is it felt private and truthful and happening in the moment. And the beauty was that the complexities of these relationships.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So I heard when the idea was initially brought to you, because the film did not have music, you were supportive, but did not necessarily see that there was an obvious musical here. You were not alone. That had been the early consensus. But man, it does work. It works so well. How has the audience really like connected with it, and why do you think it resonates with them?
Well, when Oren Wolf approached me in 2010 with the idea to do a musical out of it, I immediately said yes, but in my heart I thought it's very crazy idea. But he was so persistent and so sure of his goal and in himself that he managed to do it after some years. And in such a success, when I heard it's such, because Tony Shalhoub initiated the role off Broadway and then on Broadway, I was really amazed and pleased to hear about it. And I didn't know that it can, you can add also music to this and songs. And when I heard it, I mean, David Yazbek made a wonderful job with all of the creators, David Cromer and Itamar Moses, who adapted the story of the film. I was really amazed and I was surprised, and it catch my heart. The first time I saw it on Broadway, it was like I was like in a dream, reliving a good dream, and like meeting an old friend, an old brother again. And I think it's touched the heart of the audience, because, you know, life sometimes can be very hard and very harsh, and this is a place when the audience can breathe and they can rest and can imagine how life could be if things were different. And in each one, I think it's also flatter the intelligence of the audience, because it doesn't promise something that it's not fulfilled. It's give a story that anyone can relate to, and really it's accumulate to such a big explosion of feeling and emotion at the end.
So the thing that struck me about it, you know, you see some shows where you're on an emotional roller coaster, but that's not what this is. For me, it felt like there was this like balloon in my heart expanding, and then you get to the crescendo of the 11 o'clock song, and the balloon pops, and I felt like my heart was left stretched. And I was like, the show just grew my heart. But it takes such restraint to go through the whole show, not give it away up front. How do you manage your process, and when you're on the stage, to like honor that restraint? And do you have any like specific moments or little things that you treasure throughout the show?
I think it's important to trust the material. The material is excellent. I mean, we've talked about the book, and the music, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it more later, but it is so layered. There's Middle Eastern sounds, there's musical theater, there's jazz. I think being alive and present and not getting ahead of ourselves is important, you know, to stay breathing truthfully and just remaining, you know, in connection with each other. And that goes for any show, really, but especially this one, because it is, I mean, David Cromer consistently reminds us to just take our time, to not, you know, reach for the audience, to allow the audience to lean in and come to us, and just to take our time, to not ask for laughs, to just let it be. And that the strength and the sophistication of it lies in all of us being able to do that together as one unit.
I think you described it beautifully, because it's really built layer after layer and slowly, and I think it's thanks to the material, of course, as Chilina said, and also the work of David Cromer, you know. We worked, we are doing almost like in a film, you know, very like in a movie. The emotions are really repressed, and you don't give much more than you have at the moment. And it's built gradually, layer after layer, and at the end you find yourself surprised by such an enormous burst of feeling and emotions, and you don't know how did it happen to you. I think this is, if you can say, one of the magic of this production and play and film.
And I have to say, too, I have a 4-year-old. We talked about this before. He's almost 5, but he's seen the show twice. And he knows Omar Sharif by heart. I woke up the other morning, and he was sitting on the edge of the bed singing it all by himself. And so I have so many favorite moments in the show. But I think, you know, if a 4-year-old can understand the music and appreciate the show, I think we all can. You know what I mean? It just it speaks to the universality of the story that we're telling and the human connection and the, you know, so many beautiful moments that a little kid can appreciate. So,
well, Answer Me is our bedtime, our bedtime lullaby.
He loves that one too, so do I. It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
What part of the show do you really look forward to every night?
Well, at the time I had many parts like this, but now it's very easy for me to answer, because my son Adam is joined the production, and my favorite part is to wait behind the curtains and watch him doing the Song of Puppy. So it's simple answer for me, but really, I mean, I enjoy many parts of this play.
I have to say, anything Adam does in the show is probably my favorite part. But also and I don't want to ruin anything, but Sasson does some wonderful things that are different every night. And anytime he laughs, my heart just explodes a little bit. Because there's so few times that Dina and Tufik get to be really relaxed together. And so the moments that we really kind of let our guard down and we are just ourselves is beautiful. And also there's a moment late in the show where Khaled takes out his trumpet and my heart melts every night when that happens.
There's a lot of heart action in this. If you haven't, like, if you want to feel, you need to see the show.
Yeah. What's beautiful about it, there is a lot of emotional part and also funny parts. You know, people are waiting for the moments of fun and relief and joy. I think what Adam doing the puppy is kind of a comic relief in this play, and there's a lot of these gently spots in the play that are very funny, and it's balanced with the emotional things.
And just when I think I've gotten as much as I can from the cast, I turn around and see these world-class musicians playing their instrument. Like, it's unbelievable. You know, we're very lucky. And also, I think not enough is ever said about the choreography in the show because we don't tend to see it as much, but Patrick McCollum's work is all over the show, and it's beautiful.
I mean, every move in the show is very well constructed and well taken care of. The music, the orchestration, etc. And really, we have a wonderful bunch of marvelous musicians. I think they are magicians. Many times after the show, you know, I finish my part and they have the finale with what they are playing, and I remain behind the curtain and just enjoy it for, I think, 400 times. And with these guys, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you've had the opportunity to perform it on Broadway, and you're now touring. How different are the audiences as you go from city to city?
Well, first of all, in New York, there is Broadway, and there is the enthusiasm of Broadway. But the matter of fact, the audience are responding to this play in the same places. They are laughing at the same places. They are emotional and get their attention in the same places. And really, I'm surprised and so pleased that it works everywhere, because we've been told that maybe it will work differently somewhere else, but it's not. It's really, I mean, people are responding the same to it. We were very lucky, and I enjoy so much the audience here in Chicago. We've performed already the third day, and the audience loves it. I mean, and hugs us.
There's also a little bit of a difference just in terms of not the reaction, but the delay in reaction or the size of reaction sometimes with bigger houses. Like if we go from a 900-seat theater to a 3,000-seat theater, they react in the same way and in the same spots, but sometimes it's a bigger laugh and it kind of ripples and it changes our timing a little bit. We just have to take a little more time with certain things and let things land. So that's been interesting for me to see how it plays, you know, different theaters.
Yeah, interesting.
It's forced you to wait until the laugh subsides.
Yeah.
Okay.
As an actor.
So we are going to have the opportunity to sing you, or hear you sing. Just
please sing me.
I am going to sing to you now and clear the no. Tell us a little bit about Omar Sharif before you go into the song, because it's just such a beautiful moment in the play. I'd love for them to get a bit of a setup.
Sure. Well, we spent a little bit of time figuring out sort of who each other is and whether we're going to go out or not. And we wind up at this cafe, and we don't have too much to talk about until the subject of music is brought up. And Tufik starts to tell Dina about the kind of music he plays in the band, and that opens up a whole beautiful conversation told through music about Dina's memories of being a child and listening to Kulthum and watching movies starring Omar Sharif.
Beautiful.
As a matter of fact, as an Israeli, what Chilina just said, I mean, as a young man, we used to see the television shows and the Egyptian film in Israel. I was sitting also with my mom and my family to watch the Egyptian film. So it's one, as an Israeli, I can tell it that it's one-to-one described.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I will hand it over to you, and
Great.
then afterwards we will have Adam come up and sing Poppy Hears the Ocean.
Amazing.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
and Omar Sharif came floating on a jasmine wind from the west, from the south, honey in my ears, spice in my mouth, dark and thrilling, strange and sweet, Cleopatra and a handsome thief, and they floated in on a jasmine wind, Kulthum and Omar Sharif, and they floated in on a jasmine wind, Kulthum and Omar Sharif. Friday evening, Omar Sharif in black and white and blurry through tears. My mother and I would sit there in a trance. He was cool to the marrow, the pharaoh of romance. Sunday morning, Kulthum, her voice would fill our living room. The ship from Egypt always came sailing in on radio waves, and the jasmine wind, deep perfume, Kulthum, and the living room becomes a garden, and the TV set becomes the fountain, and the music flows in the garden, and everything grows. Kulthum and Omar Sharif came floating on a lemon leaf, flying in on a jasmine wind, Kulthum and Omar Sharif, and we danced with them in a jasmine-scented wind. Kulthum and Omar Sharif. Thank you.
I don't know with the girls, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. I'm smarter up here than I am down here, and up here I'm not too smart. They might say one thing or another, they might have smiled at me once or twice. If they have breasts and they're not my mother, then all I hear is and their hands get heavy, or their hands, I don't know what to do with their hands or their feet. Frozen in fear like a deer with the lights in the eyes in the middle of the street. She might be wanting to get touchy-feely, she might be talking to me really nice. She might as well be speaking Swahili, cause all I hear is and my tongue gets big, and I can't move my knees, and my eyeballs freeze, and all I see is a tunnel, and the curtain in my head. My legs are full of lead, and my brain goes deader than the dead sea. Dead in the mind, and I find that I kind of go into an infertile trance. I been in my, not literally been in my, but you know, it may as well be been in my, then I lose my wits. My lights go off, I get all sticky in the beats. I smell like falafel, my ears get hot, and I feel real awful, cause all I hear is dead, belly up, going round, sinking down, down, like a schmuck. Dead in the head, dead in the water, dead in a magical sea full of suck. Go ahead and tell me I should keep on trying. Go ahead and tell me I should break the ice. I'll be standing here deaf and dying, and all I'll hear is
We have Adam Gabay here and Ronnie Malley. Malley.
Like O'Malley,
oh,
without the O.
There we go. Thank you both for also being here.
Thank you.
I do have to say, I had a particularly awkward meeting with a boss of mine. And it was so bad that afterwards I was trying to describe it. The only way I could describe it was by playing your song. And so thank you. You were there. That song has been there for me in many moments. So I asked the others, but I would love to hear from you. Do you have a favorite moment in the show?
When?
No.
No, after you.
I have a lot of favorite moments in the show. But actually, I think the most interesting moments they're backstage. Like, Evan and I, we have the secret handshake before the going out scene, and it's like, no matter what, every night. So, but for real, this show, as Israeli, I think this show, morning. This show is talking about the thing that they are above the politics, and and you know, as Israeli, I'm surrounded all my life in this arguments and issues and our neighbors and Israeli-Palestine, and this show just says, in my opinion, stop. Let's talk about love, about fears, about human beings, and I think we have a lot of moments like this in this show.
I would agree. It's funny, I'm Palestinian American, born and bred in Chicago. I grew up with a sense of diversity. Chicago is a very diverse place. But to be very direct, my favorite moments in the show, there are too many to name. It's such a, there's so much subtlety in the show that it's not your typical musical. I've worked on musicals where I met you at, actually, as well, where it's this bombastic thing. I'm dressed up like a monkey or an elephant. I'm flying through the air or doing other things, where this is completely different. I think it's the subtlety that draws you in. Every moment is great. I love the dinner scene that I do, and I love the partners that I'm with on stage during the dinner scene, because it's one of those really awkward moments almost everybody's had, and especially since recent political elections have occurred, your Thanksgiving dinner was probably like this, where you sat down and nobody wants to bring up any particular subject at all, so we just enjoy our dinner quietly. And then everybody tries to make that small talk, and we've all been there, and it's like, okay, that's nice. What are we doing here? Why am I here right now? And it just, I think Andrea Crotty, our music supervisor, described it really well. She said it's a very sneaky scene. And sneaky in the sense that it starts off very awkward, very nervous, and then all of a sudden, it just evolves. Like somebody says something, it's like, oh, that song. Yeah, I know that song. Of course I know that song. And we sing a little rendition of Summertime. And it just kind of builds from there. And somebody's memories are channeled. And he sings this song, Beat of Your Heart. David Studwell, who's in the scene with us, sings Beat of the Heart. He plays Avram. He's actually with us here in the audience today, too. And it brings everything together because it talks about what love is, what your love at first sight, what your first love was. And it's something I think everybody can relate to on a basic level.
Yeah. So the show really does, as you mentioned, focus on human connections and how, like at the core, we're more alike than different. Have you had any interactions on the road with audience members or anything like that that are an example of cultures coming together?
Our cast.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. We have a lot of people who are international. Some people are from Canada. Some people are from France. Some people are from Brazil. Some of us are from Israel. And some of us are Palestinian or Lebanese or from America. It's brilliant to see how many people are speaking so many different languages, too. I was also, Arabic is my maternal tongue. And David Cromer, the director, had emailed me like a day before coming out to New York. He said, hey, our normal dialect coach has left, and do you think you could take on this role? I said, okay. So I get in, and all of a sudden I found so many people speaking different languages. Just in the cast alone, it was like being on the road with the world, with the UN, basically. DC was one of my favorite places to play. I mean, but it was a very intellectual crowd. It was a crowd that understood, and it was very diverse. But it was kind of how Sasson and Chilina had mentioned before. When we went to the Carolinas, we played there, and that's where we just came from. It can be a bit different there, including even my Midwestern accent could sometimes be a little bit different for folks there. Imagine a play that we're already struggling with bad American or bad English accents and trying to communicate, which is really what this play is all about. And to be able to reach people like that might not have had as much exposure to people with different languages, with heavy accents, I thought was very powerful because it's the emotion that actually captured everyone.
And if we're talking about accent, so in DC, we finished this show, and then this guy that I could see that he is Middle Eastern. He came to me and he said, hey, it was great, thank you, amazing experience. And I can't realize that his accent there is from Middle East. And I told him, where are you from? And he told me, I'm from Egypt. And then he asked me, where are you from? And then I told him, I'm from Israel. And then we just looked at each other's eyes, and we hugged. Just like this. And if we want and need to find the reason that we are doing art/theater/ specifically this show, so for me, that was the moment that, okay, yes, we did something, we are doing something. And if it's like, he's just looked at in my eyes and he was like, I understand, you understand. So for me, that was a really special moment.
Certainly. Thank you for sharing that. Music is a central character in the show. The band is often on the actual stage. In traditional musicals, like band and orchestra are kind of relegated to the pit, but here you are in front of the audience, and this is not the first time where, as a musician, you are on stage. I did see him as a flying monkey in Jungle Book, clarification, years ago. But how does that change, like being on the stage, how does that change your experience as a musician? And then as an actor, does it add a layer or a depth having the musicians in and around you?
For me, it's amazing to have those guys with us. Everything is more spicy and funny and fun, and they're great. And they are so talented and amazing.
I would say the same, like in terms of it's very spicy. You know, particularly this show, it's weird, but it's almost like going to watch a play and a concert at the same time. Because the songs are not just like transitional pieces of music or here's just a number. It's like, here's an instrumental number. You don't usually see that in a musical. It's like always filled with words, the libretto takes over and everything. We have actual instrumental numbers. We improvise every night, so it's really like getting a concert in the end. And I love the world of theater, I love the world of music. I grew up as mainly a musician. But when I discovered theater, I thought, here's a very structured way of storytelling with music. And it does something because it's multisensory, it allows you to follow a storyline, but also it's candy for your ears as well. I love it. I can't even do any more of my like concerts without having theatrical elements like that. Maybe they're not as bombastic as certain musicals, but it's still there. And I've had a lot of people, even after like regular concerts I've done with my groups, we've scripted something and we've told a story throughout, and they've all come up afterwards and said, I really appreciate knowing a story behind all of this. So it's amazing. It's amazing also being on stage with so many talented actors who sing, who play music and instruments themselves as well.
Director David Cromer talks about part of the magic of the show is like this active waiting, which feels like it'd be really hard to convey, but you all entirely do it, and it feels like that's the drive that kind of like propels us through the show. How do you think about active waiting? And you're likely speaking to a room full of not terribly patient people, right? So something I think about is being more deliberate in waiting and active. How do you approach and embody active waiting?
You know, the one thing that I can say about this show that I've tried to formulate, because it's difficult to talk about this. This is not your typical musical. Like before some shows, before concerts, it's almost like an athletic event, right? You pump yourself up, you're ready, yeah, I'm about to do this. You do not do that for this show. In fact, it's almost like, the two words that I kind of formulated for myself is this, it's quiet intensity. Yeah. It's so intense, but it's so quiet and subtle. You know that calm before the storm? And it really it makes you reflect and think. Even as the audience member, you are interactive with this because a regular musical, you might have a lot of musical numbers, and it's very easy to tune out, actually. Oh, this is the part of singing this. Okay, so who called me right now? This is not that kind of show. It's like you really need to pay attention, but then all of a sudden, by the end of it all, it's like you've gone through a meditation healing or something.
Yes, the theme of waiting in this show is really important and takes a lot of important place in the show. You know, our opening number, his name is Waiting. Its name is Waiting. Yeah. So for me, also, as Ronnie said, on one hand, you have show, and like before every show, I'm really excited and nervous and, you know, everything. But on the other hand, you just need to take a huge breath to be, you know, because I can't do like, waiting, what's new here? You're waiting. I have to do like, waiting, what's new here? You're waiting. So, and that's the difference for me in the band's visit from another musicals. That, as my father said, it's not like razzle-dazzles and legs and a lot of instruments. It's like little and intimate and modest, but that the power of this musical, in my opinion.
Mine too. I agree. One final question before we turn it over to the band. One of my favorite quotes came from an actor, and he talked about interesting input makes for interesting output. You all give so much by way of output, 8 shows a week. How do you think about the input portion of that? Where are you drawing inspiration from right now?
For me, it'd be from each other, really. Everybody in this cast is so interesting, comes from so many different backgrounds, so many different places. It's amazing to be traveling with so many worldly people. I'd say a lot of the input that I receive comes from them, really, more than anything.
Yes, me as well. I think, yes, the inspiration comes from the cast, absolutely. And for me, you know, from the country, from my country, from my people, as I know, the shy teenagers, as Papi, as I saw when I served the army, when I spent time in Israel, my life. And so mix of this, yeah. And also here, for me, I feel, yes, I feel foreign or stranger, and I know this feeling of what we don't have the same culture, we don't have the same language, but we have to spend the time together. So for me, it's really interesting.
Cool, very cool. So up next we have Haj Boutros. The band will be playing. So we have, gosh, I'm sorry if I mess up last names. Adrian Reyes on the piano. Ronnie, how do you pronounce
Malley.
How do you pronounce your instrument?
Oud.
Oud. So take a look when he plays that. Tony Bird on the violin, George Crotty on the cello, Evan Francis on the clarinet, and Roger, I don't know how to pronounce your instrument either.
Kashou.
Yes, but his instrument, the
Darbuka.
Darbuka. So we're having a whole lesson here. I'll turn it over to you, and then please line up in the microphone if you have any questions. I'd like to invite the cast back up. If anyone has questions, please line up at the microphone.
Many of us in this room are on a cadence where it's a little bit of Groundhog Day. Like every quarter we get a new quota and we kind of do this whole thing. You do what you do 8 days a week. What do you do to keep fresh?
I played Carole on Broadway for about 1,200 performances, and so I was really tested. There were a couple times where there was a voice going off in my head like, you don't know the words, you've been saying banana too many times, and I was like, shh, that's not helpful, thank you, please be quiet. And there was sometimes after, I mean, Sasson's played this role for, many, many times, and we have somebody in the company, James, who's just celebrated his 700th performance in the band's visit. So for those of us who have done a part for a long time, it's really, I find it's all about listening. I mean, art is about listening. Theater is about listening. It's always about the other person. I mean, Sasson said it before when we were talking about keeping a scene alive. It's always different. You can always learn something every time you're on the deck with, even if it's the same people, you know, they bring a different energy. I always sort of liken it to a yoga practice. You know, if, for anybody who's practiced Bikram yoga or any kind of yoga where it's the same poses over and over again, there's always a little bit of change. You're a different person, you breathe differently, you're going through a different mood that day, or the teacher's a little bit different, or there's something that brings you to the mat in a different way. But you experience that practice in the same way, but with a different approach day after day after day, and you can practice that way until you die. And that's really, I think, what theater's all about, is just showing up, being present, being in your body, and listening, and really reacting to the other person, and not trying to create a cookie-cutter performance in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, I think you described it wonderfully.
Yeah.
I've done 400 performances of this show. I've done also in Israel, you know, when I was working a lot. I reached 500 performances also, but not eight times a week. So for me it was very new. So the first 3 months I was in euphoria, you know, like honeymoon. I just came to Broadway and I didn't care, and I was doing 8 shows a week with no just excited. And after a while, I realized, hey man, it's not a joke. Yeah? You're going to continue doing it for a long time. So as a matter of fact, it was like a wave. I've been through many stages in this. And sometimes, you know, there's, as Chilina said, you have voices in your head. And sometimes you say, wow, what I'm saying now, even though you said it 200 times, you are not sure what you are going to say. And then you have to say to yourself, okay, it's okay, be in the situation, be in the moment, listen to your partner, and you'll charge yourself again. And as I said before, I'm keep looking for new things. And each day I'm different, and each day I'm grown up. And so luckily, you know, I like this part and I like this production. So I never cease to look for something new. And you know, it's also making a living. You know, this is our job, this is our work, this is how we pay our bills, and this is a situation you have to adjust to it, and to know how to operate in these circumstances. Luckily, I'm doing something that I love, and profession that I love. I've been in the business quite a long time, but I'm still have enthusiasm and love for what I'm doing. With wonderful cast like this.
It's easy to forget too that sometimes, you know, it's somebody's first time seeing a show ever, you know, that night. You may feel like it's your 800th performance, but it's somebody's very first time at the theater, or first time seeing that particular show, or they respond to the show in a particular way. Like I've had people, you know, tears in their eyes, like, oh, it moved me so much. And so, you know, you think it's not about our experience, it's about what Sasson just said, it's our job to make it fresh every day. So whether you want to or not, it's not about that, it's literally your job to go out there and do your best.
It's a wonderful job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look for the subtleties in everything, and then there's thousands of things to see from people in your cast alone. I actively listen to everybody else to see, oh, you said that word a little differently today. Or, that syllable was a little different. And then you take that to real life too, because you wake up every morning, right? And yeah, you expect maybe the same day, but if you find the little subtleties, you start to appreciate life a little bit more too. I think that's how the theater is as well. You appreciate what you're doing every day a little bit more. And keeping in mind what Chilina said too, like this is somebody's first experience. That's the first thought I usually have before going out on stage too, especially if I have a cousin or a friend or a family or anybody in the audience. I'm thinking, I have to do it for that person.
And
go ahead.
No.
I'm also have I trick myself, you know. If I have a line or monologue, I sometimes even artificially I change the pause. I change the stress on the word. I do it, and then I surprise myself, and it's being fresh. That's what makes it fresh for me.
I have this voice that they talked about it, and I did only 80 shows. So I really agree with you guys, and I think that theater or music, you know, like good drummer can be amazing drummer, but if he doesn't listen to his bass player, so it doesn't matter. He can do like amazing fills, but it doesn't matter because he has to listen to his bass player because they are like one unit together. And if I don't listen to Chilina and I tell her in one vibe, but she in this day she's different from the other day, and they don't get it, so the bass and the drum they're not together, and the song go away. So that's my opinion.
Thank you very much for coming. I know that mornings aren't easy for any of us, but you guys have only had 6 hours of rest since the end of the show. So thank you so much for being here on a morning. Just had a question. There's such a diversity of musical and theatrical careers on the stage, and I would love to know how any previous roles you've had have informed how you're building your characters now, but even more so how you think pieces from this show will shape how you portray characters in the future, even in a different production, a completely separate thing. Just curious how this show has shaped you as an actor, a performer, musician.
I'll start just because I grew up in a musical family band, and I grew up playing Egyptian, Middle Eastern, North African music with my dad in this family band, and then later on fell into theater and saw how that culture is now very prevalent in the world. To address the elephant in the room, the Middle East is on the news every single day, and people's images are being formed of how the characters are in the Middle East. And I found that I can make a much stronger mark in the world from now and in the future by changing the image that people see in the media through art. This show is a pinnacle of that, for me at least personally, that we can change and shift images to show how people get along, to show how people play together, how we all share the same struggles and stripes in life. For me, I was kind of born into it and I couldn't help it.
I can say for me that this role is unlike anything I've ever played before, and I think the beauty of playing different kinds of roles is that they unlock different parts of you and your personality, and you get to reach out and do things that you wouldn't normally do, maybe as in my own life. And vocally, I have to say that this show is very unique, and I did The Lord of the Rings years ago. You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about Lord of the Rings, but I did it in 2005, and we had to learn how to sing in a Finnish style and in an Indian style. And so that unlocked different colors in my voice that I never knew that I had, and I learned how to sing as a group in a different way. So I was able to bring some of those colors to what I'm singing in this show, which is, I think, interesting.
For me, I mean, it's a very interesting question because I want to forget what I've done before when I'm approaching a new part. I have experience, of course, but I don't want to take from one part to another. So I'm concentrate on this special qualities of this character. But nevertheless, I know where to stop, where to make it faster, to speed the situation. So it's only experience. I like to master the craft that I'm doing. So in this respect, it's different. And also, I think from this part, I learned to breathe and to wait, and to count on myself. And if you are in the situation, really, the audience will be with you, no matter how long it will take you to project.
I have to agree with my father, and
I waited for 21 years for that. By the way, I mean, there's a scene that he's giving me a cup of coffee in the scene. So I had to wait 21 years until he brings me a cup.
I don't drink coffee. I don't know how to make it. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. So
you had to be paid only to get me a coffee, huh?
So, okay. I have to agree with my father. and I think, yeah, I think each character that I played or will play, it's a different story, different world, but I do take inspiration from the experience, from the people. Just I don't think that I will take the character of Papi to another character, but maybe I will take the character of Tony, the violin, to another character, the violin player to another character. Maybe I will find myself 15 years from now playing this role, and I will be, oh my God, it's Tony, it's exactly Tony, okay? So, and I will play him. So, for me, the character is not, he has his own world, but the band's visit world and the professional advice that my father and Chilina and all the amazing professional actors that we have gave me, this is the inspiration. The people, the characters, the real guys, they are the inspiration for me.
Mm-hmm. But they're all unique, right? Like every role is unique, every show is unique. Yeah.
Amazing. On behalf of, we have a little Chicago theater nerd herd, so on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ronnie, Sasson, Adam, Chilina, to the band, to the cast here, to the creative team out there, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.